Early, what got you started in barbecue? What got you hooked?
Well, it was, yeah, I think a lot of it started like a lot of people. Um, you're a typical backyard barbecue guy, and your friends and family come over, and man, this is good barbecue, and you ought to do something with this, but I'm sure you've heard it, when you have friends or family over, man, this is good, you should do something with it or whatever. And, it was just a typical backyard barbecue stuff. And then the bug that really bit me was, God, it's been probably 18 years ago. Um, there was a local water park, like it's Wet and Wild, and they were advertising that they're going to have a fajita cook-off. And, at that time, I was cooking a lot of fajitas for parties or whatever, just get-togethers. So I said, I'm going to try it. So, I entered into the competition. It was radio stations and stuff were advertising it, and I jumped into it, and I ended up winning. And I was like, man, that was, and I saw people do some strange things. Cutting up the fajitas raw and then putting them in a skillet. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just it's non-traditional.
I was going to ask you, like, fajitas. Are you talking about carne? What we call carne asada out here?
No, it's more skirt steak.
Okay.
Yeah,
and you cook steak. You cook it whole?
I cook it whole, the whole skirt.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the only fajitas that I know out here is, they bring it to you sizzling in a pan to your table. So,
yeah.
It's like you said, it's so that's not the traditional way, as far as you're concerned.
No, the way I did it back then, and this was before I knew anything about cuts of meat and prime and outside versus inside skirt. So I was using a lot of outside skirt. The outside skirt's a lot more tougher than the inside skirt. It's a lot more tender. The inside skirt's a lot more tender. And so I was buying these skirts from this meat market that has since closed. And but it was a whole skirt. The whole skirt was probably 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches thick. And I never trimmed it. I just cooked it over charcoal or charwood, and just cook it really good seasoning. In fact, back then I was using a marinade. It was a Claude's fajita marinating sauce, and that's all I would ever use. I wouldn't use salt and pepper. And I ended up winning this contest, and then I won some money, and I won like a $500 gift certificate from the meat market, and and I bought more meat, and then I started getting into now we had always barbecued as a and I say barbecue loosely, because barbecue, I think, there's so many things that fall under barbecue.
Yeah.
So, you had a party, there was a barbecue, whether you're cooking chicken or, like you said, carne asada, steaks or hot links or whatever. And so I ended up buying all this meat, and I started getting into the bigger meats, the pork shoulders. I started with pork shoulders and briskets, but my very first smoker was a Weber Smoky Mountain.
Okay.
And I used that thing till it fell apart. I mean, I'd leave it out. I'd leave it out in the rain, and the pans got all rusted on the bottom, and it was just time to get something new. But that was my very first cooker, and I did briskets. I did a lot of pork shoulders on there. Chicken, didn't matter. I mean, I did everything in that thing, and I learned early on that the grilling that I was doing, the fajitas and stuff, the grilled chicken, is a totally different game when you start to smoke stuff. Now, a Weber Smoky Mountain is a barbecue grill, but it serves really good as a smoker. And I was a novice. I mean, I'm talking long time ago. And I would use wood chips, the the wood chips you buy from the store, and I would
Yeah.
soak them in water,
Soak them in water. Yeah.
yeah, you do stupid stuff like that early on, and like, can you imagine soaking a split of post oak and then putting that in your smoker now?
You
Uh,
know, it's funny because when I first learned about not doing that was, I forget if I was in a forum somewhere or something, and when the guy just posed this question: why would you soak your wood in water only to have to turn around and now dry that out again in order for it to smoke? Like,
yeah.
and that stuck with me forever in my head. Like, wow, I've been doing this wrong for how long?
Mm-hmm.
So, so what
Yeah.
did
So
what did you
sorry.
graduate to after the Smoky Mountain?
So then, um, and now before the Smoky Mountain, we had the cheap square barbecue grills from Walmart or whatever,
Yeah,
and everybody has one of those, or it was just just cheap grills. And then so from there, I ended up wanting an offset smoker. I wanted to try an offset smoker, and I was young and didn't have a whole lot of money, just getting my life together. And so I ended up getting this char griller. um, I'm sure you've seen it. It's a half of it's a gas grill, half of it's a smoker,
oh yeah,
or it's
yeah,
a charcoal grill, but then you can buy an attachment that the firebox that you hang on it.
right,
And it's cheap. It's cheap, but you know what? I think that we all go through these phases in life, and you
right,
kind of learn what to buy and what not to buy. Well, anyway, I ended up, doing really. I had that smoker forever. It was, to me, it was really easy to use, and the food that it was producing was really good. Now I was limited on space, right? But
yeah,
again, it was just, we like to entertain a lot, my wife and I. So it was, just friends and family or parties and stuff, and cook a brisket or some pork shoulders or some ribs or whatever. And so we moved out to Arizona back in 2009,
okay,
and we had made a trip to Arizona to go house hunting and stuff, and that smoker was in my backyard. We had already loaded a bunch of furniture, but there was still stuff at our house here in El Paso, Texas. And so we came back for some of that stuff, and my smoker was gone. Somebody had stolen my smoker.
oh
And
wow,
we're talking a $380, $400 smoker or whatever. It's not, but it was the principle, and that thing was well seasoned. I had it for years.
right,
And so when we got to Arizona, I liked that smoker so much that I went and bought another one, the exact same thing from like a Lowe's hardware store or something like that.
okay,
And so I started to smoke, and I could grill some steaks if I wanted to or whatever. But it wasn't until 2000, let me see, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, when I moved back to Texas, that I really, I was like, man, let me try. I had heard a lot about Traeger, okay, and it's funny that in the backstory now, and you know what I'm into now. um, so I said, I'm gonna get me one of those pellet smokers. I'd seen a lot of commercials. I was like, man, that's like the wave of the future. I still had my little char griller offset combo, and real thin metal. I mean, I was burning through charcoal and wood and stuff, whatever. But so I went to this barbecue store here in town. I had Googled it, and I went in there and I said, "Hey, I'm here to buy that Traeger smoker." He goes, "You have your mind set on that smoker?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, I was like, I had already done my research on it. I was like, I
right,
wanted it, and back then, I think they were made in the U.S. before they started making them in China or whatever. So he was like, why don't you lift the handle on that one right there, or lift the door? And I saw it, but I also saw the price tag,
yeah,
and I said, what is this thing? I mean, it was black and orange, and it just looked like a tank, and I was like, what the
yeah,
heck is this? And I lifted the door, and I was like, man, this thing's heavy, and it's got a counterweight on it. He goes, oh, that's a pellet smoker too. He said, that one's just made in America. That's a Yoder smoker. And I was like, oh man, I can't afford something like this, And then I said, well, I'll let you know. You know, he kind of put doubt in my mind, and I went home and thought
Right.
about it and asked Mama for permission, right? And so
Well,
I went back the very next day with my truck, and I said, "Hey, I'm here for that smoker." You know,
wow.
I had already done some, that night I went home and did a lot of research on that Yoder smoker.
Right.
That was a YS640 pellet smoker, and I brought it home, and I was like a madman. This thing was like you hit on, and you set your temperature, hit start, let it warm up, and put your food in, and put some probes in there, and it was too easy,
Right.
and I was hooked. So I started sending. I got into some of the social media pages and chat rooms back when chat rooms were popular. And I started sending up pictures, and I said, "Man, look at this! I just got it yesterday." And in one day I had already cooked chicken and a pork shoulder. I
Right.
mean, I
Right.
was going crazy. And the guy that was doing the social media stuff back then said, "Hey, man, you might want to pace yourself, because I was just sending a picture after picture after picture." So,
Oh man.
not knowing anything about, back then. I mean, you think about where we're at today, and everything is social media.
Yeah.
Whether it's YouTube or Instagram or Facebook. I mean, if you're not in social media, I'm not saying that your life is boring, but social media is where it's at. Um, so I started.
Definitely. If when you're trying to build something,
Mhm.
definitely social media is the way to do that these days. It's like free marketing, pretty much.
Yeah.
You are your own marketer, and what you put out there is your content and stuff like that.
Hmm.
There's good sides and there's some bad sides of social media, but it is definitely one of those things that now we have an advantage,
Hmm.
kind of over the old school guys. The old school guys, they know 10 other barbecuers, 15 other barbecuers,
Hmm.
and me, I didn't always like open up my page to other barbecuers. I kind of kept it close people I know, and until maybe a couple years ago when I said, you know what, I'm just gonna friend every person that has a barbecue on social media. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And then that's when it really like opened up, and you start to meet people. Guys like you and guys like just people that you think are not Arnie Tex. I'm sure you know who Arnie Tex is. Like,
Hmm.
to me, guys like you and Arnie, and you guys are like, like high level barbecue guys to me, and the fact that you would even answer a message, from me, or Arnie would answer a message from me and give me advice here and there. To me, it shows a lot about your guys' character, but it also shows like this is what social media has done. It's allowed the common guy, so to speak, to communicate with people that are a few levels above him when it comes to that certain kind of industry, and that's a
Hmm.
very good thing with social media.
Yeah, and I
But go,
never. And thank you for that. I never went into this thinking that I would ever get to this point. I'm a. My wife called me a hobby jumper. Okay, so I was into drag racing pretty heavy. I lost a fortune there, and I was into ATVs. I used to build race quads.
oh
Something
wow,
a whole lot of people don't know. I used to buy brand new quads. Put cams and exhaust and suspension and um, control boxes and stuff, and then I got into bowling real heavy and hunting, and then I got into archery and I was into gaming for a little bit. I was into Modern Warfare 3, and
it's so
I
funny,
kind
man.
of
I laugh because I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Before I started like really barbecuing, I
Hmm.
was fishing. I would fish like every weekend. I bought a boat to go fish on, and you know what I mean? So I know
Hmm.
exactly what you're talking about. A couple of my good friends, same thing. Like we were into something. We would barbecue and cook for ourselves,
Yeah.
but we weren't really doing it to cook for other people. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
all it did was it took the lake getting shut down, our local lake, right? And then all of a sudden we're sitting there twiddling our thumbs and we're like, you know what? Let's take this barbecue thing to another level,
Hmm.
And we just start buying smokers, seeing what we like, selling what we don't. I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about, Joe.
So I was, I did a lot. I started collecting guns. Okay. So, I mean, I am all over the place. I bought a drone and I started to fly that and just, taking pictures and video. And I mean, I've been into a lot, but this one, you kind of, and the reason for that, people, I always tell this story is because I was a hobby jumper. And I mentioned Modern Warfare 3. I made it to the top 100 in the world, as far as the
Wow.
top 100 gamers in the world in Modern Warfare 3.
Wow.
I started a clan in Modern Warfare 3, and we were unbeatable. And I still have the game. I just haven't played it in 2.5 years or 2 years or whatever.
Wow.
But so I think that we all do this, and then we kind of find where we fit in. That whole square peg in a round hole.
Yeah.
I think that even though I enjoyed the drag racing and everything else that I did, this one really stuck. And I enjoyed it while I was drag racing. I enjoyed it while I was bowling. I enjoyed it. We had little competitions, brisket competitions with the bowling team. Hey, this guy's talking smack over there. He says his brisket's better than yours. And you don't tell me that your brisket's better than
Yeah.
mine because it's on, right? So,
Right.
so we had friendly competitions, like you said, you were fishing, but you were still grilling. So all this stuff that was going on, whether it was the gaming or the bowling or the drag racing, whatever, barbecue was always there in the background for me. It was always there. And now when I discovered YouTube and all this social media stuff, that's when it really started to, I was like, man, you can make money doing this, or you can, why are these companies reaching out to me to try this? And I was like, man, I thought that was pretty neat. Um, but going into it, I didn't think that it was going to get to this point, and I'm not. Yeah, stick to barbecue. Thanks, Dan. I'm not. Yeah, Warrior says you find that one that sticks, and yeah, this one stuck, and it like I mentioned, it had always been there, but I just fell in love with the barbecue game, and for me to listen to you say that, man, I think that you're up here, that means a lot to me because I don't see myself as the guy that's way up top. You mentioned Arnie Tex. I got to meet Arnie, and he's a down home, just a great man. Him and his wife. We had some beers in Gonzales, Texas, at a comp last year, a couple of years ago, and he's just a down to earth guy. And that's who I am. I'm just down to earth. I don't see
And
myself at a high level or anything like that.
it shows, Joe. Joe, it definitely shows, bro. So
Hmm.
tell us about your babies you got now. Tell us about what you got at the house now, because it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, so I started with a YS640, and I still have it, and that's my workhorse, from Yoder. And so I was doing this whole thing, and they reached out to me and said, "Hey, can we use some of your pictures?" And I said, "Yeah." I granted them access to my pictures, whatever. And for Father's Day last year, yeah, it was Father's Day last year. The FedEx truck pulls up and he goes, "Hey, I got something for you." And I was like, "What is it?" I didn't order anything. So I get this Yoder flat top. It's a charcoal grill,
I
and I was
know.
like, yeah, it was on Father's Day, so yeah, you have one,
Yeah.
so so I was like, oh, this is neat. So then I was I was trying to work something out with the co-founder of Yoder, to be a brand ambassador. And back then I had an El Rey smoker, which that company is
Elray.
since gone
Okay.
out of business. Yeah.
Has he?
And I love that smoker. Yeah, he's now I reached out to him a few times and he said that he will still, if somebody wants a smoker, he'll still build it for him or whatever. So, I ended up ordering the Yoder Frontiersman from Yoder, and I was like, man, I don't need two large smokers. I got a big backyard, but I told my wife, I said, hey, I don't need two big smokers. So
Right.
I put it up for sale, the Elray, and my wife told me just keep it. I was like, wow. I
Well,
was like,
yeah.
yeah. I was like, what? I mean, you my wife? And so I ended up selling it. I made some money on it, and I sold it for a really low price, but knowing that I was going to get the Frontiersman, the big Yoda Frontiersman, and that's kind of that's where I'm at now. So I've got the Yoder pellet smoker, the Y640. I've got the Frontiersman. I got the flat top. I've got two gateway drums, a pit
Nice.
barrel cooker.
And your flat top has a comp car, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stuck with that orange color. I'm a Chevrolet guy, so it's kind of like Chevy orange color.
Yeah.
So
It's
I kind of
nice.
like it.
I like the
Yeah,
color. I like those colors. They're really nice.
yeah.
So, Joe, where would you like to take this to the future? I mean, where would you ultimately like to run with this?
Well, I'm doing a lot of catering right now. In fact, I got 10 briskets for the 4th of July this Saturday. I'm really
Awesome.
liking that catering deal. Um,
Catering brings good
my,
money.
it does.
It
It
does.
does. So, um, my ultimate goal, to be honest with you, my dream would be to be able to retire from O'Reilly, and I'm talking a few years from now, obviously, and maybe open up a bar. Did I
Sorry
lose you?
about that. Yeah, someone
Oh,
tried
there
to
you go.
call
All
me.
right. Oh, okay.
Go for it.
So I don't know where I left off there.
You said ultimately you would like to retire from O'Reilly,
Yeah, and open up a restaurant.
open up a restaurant.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a few years down the road, obviously, but that would be my ultimate thing is to give O'Reilly a few good more good years and then do that. But for now, I'm gonna run with this YouTube thing. I really like it.
Yeah, it
Um,
likes you too.
yeah, yeah. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And you get to the point where you start making a little bit of money, and it helps. So I'm really liking it. It's opened up so many doors um, for me, and I just this is a hobby that stuck to me out of everything that we did or everything that I did. This is the one that stuck to me, and this is the one that I'm really passionate and the one that I really love. So I'm just gonna run with it. Do some catering, do the YouTube. And I only cook on the weekends or when I'm off. So
Yeah,
Saturdays and Sundays is when I cook I film my videos and stuff. I rarely cook during the week unless I'm on vacation or whatever.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm just having fun with it, man. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Um, so if somebody walked in and said, "Hey, Joe," okay, I'm going to put a disclaimer on this for you because I know you're a Yoder guy, so I know what you're probably going to say. So I'm going to say you can't buy a Yoder, okay? But they come in, they
Hmm.
give you a blank check, and they say, "Joe, you could buy three cookers, no price. Yeah, price whatever you want." I already know you would buy a Yoder Cimarron or whatever that one is. That thing's awesome. But
Hmm.
um, let's say that wasn't an option. What other three cookers would you look?
Um, you know,
And look, Joe, I know you're a Yoder guy. Okay, Yoder knows you're a
yeah,
Yoder guy. Okay, I'm the
yeah,
one
yeah,
putting the stipulation out here. Okay,
yeah, yeah.
saying you can't pick a Yoder.
All right, so I would probably buy a I would buy 3 smokers, and they would all be built by the same person.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you've heard of Evan May's Barbecue in Lubbock, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, so the owner, builds pits, believe it or not.
Oh.
So I know that people have heard about, that real popular pit builder, but Arnis builds some really nice pits. I mean, he built the pits at his restaurant, and I've seen what he does. So he builds these 1,000-gallon smokers. So I would buy 2 of those to get ready for my restaurant, and then I would get probably a 500 on a trailer so I can do some gigs and stuff.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. So look, I mean, I know that he sells them. I don't know if he advertises that he sells them.
Right.
But he's an amazing pit builder.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've been at his restaurant 2-3 times already.
Nice.
And it's really good stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so you're at home. What's your favorite thing to cook for you and the wife? Just, not for videos, not for nothing, but for you and the wife to eat. What do you enjoy to cook? What's your favorite cook?
Believe it or not, I mean, I like Mexican food, so I like a good homemade green chicken enchilada.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've got hatch green chilies in my freezer, and we make our own sauce.
Yeah,
and some beans, some rice. Man, that's where it's at.
Nice.
But
nice.
Sometimes I'm not. It's not all about. I know I've got this YouTube channel, and I do all these cooks and stuff of barbecue, but man, sometimes a simple tuna sandwich, man, with some Lay's chips is all I want.
Right. Yeah. Right. Simple stuff.
I tell my wife, I said, babe, you don't got to do this. You don't have to make, these tacos or whatever. Let's just have a bologna sandwich or tuna fish sandwich with some plain Lay's chips, man. That's where I'm at.
Right. I like that. I like that. That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
So, what are you looking to do in the next 6 months? I know everybody has goals and stuff. What kind of goals do you have?
Well, as far as goals, I mean, obviously with what's going on, it makes it a little tough, right? I mean,
Yeah,
we're
definitely.
we're in a new world. We are going to go through 2020, and it's going to go down as the worst year in history of the United States. I don't think, and hopefully things get better in 2021. I mean, looking at it now, it's going to be hard to believe that things will get better, but I firmly believe that they will get better. For the next 6 months, I'm just going to keep trucking along with my YouTube channel, man. To be honest with you, I'm going to get into different cooking. I've got some things in the works, some Brazilian style cooking.
Oh, nice.
That I'm going to be doing. I'm going to get into sausage making.
Cool.
So I'm going to just keep doing the YouTube thing. Keep doing what I'm doing now, but you got to come up with new content. And I think I've got my deep freezers full of brisket trimmings that I need to do something with. So, I'll be making some sausage, and then I'll be doing some cooks some Brazilian style cooks,
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, tell everybody where to find you on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and we'll be good.
Yeah, so on YouTube, it's under Smoke. You can find me under Smokin Joe'S Pit Bbq, without the G on smoking. It's Smokin. And then same on Instagram, Smokin Joe'S Pit Bbq. On Facebook, I don't have it under Smokin Joe'S Pit Bbq, but I do have a page, Smokin Joe'S Pit Bbq, that I have, and I shouldn't have created it, but you can find me under Joe Martinez, and you can see my logo on there.
Yeah.
That's where you can find me, on the social media outlets.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Joe. I appreciate the time and the opportunity to be able to have this conversation.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's good. Appreciate you.
All right. Take care.
Yep.
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. I believe this is episode 15 of the Cud. Like and subscribe. And if you would like to get interviewed for the Cud, Let me know. There's nobody too big or too small that I will not interview. Thank you. God bless you. Peace.